Welcome to the Swiss Army Man podcast, episode 21, Bring Your Daughter to Work Day.
What's up, everybody? My name is Tone Gordon. This is Lolo. She's my daughter. If you've watched episode 19, you saw her on the podcast already once. We have a snow day, so no school today. So we figured what better time than to bring your daughter to work. And this is not necessarily my work, but it is something that I do as work. So and I know it's not actually Bring Your Daughter to Work Day. I know it's like the fourth Thursday in April or something like that. But Bring Your Daughter to Work Day for a podcast is right now. So we got coffee, which Lola made. She's getting so old now that she likes coffee. So we will be talking a little bit. And then we decided I picked out some questions from this site, and we're just going to kind of rapid fire through them. And just since it's Bring Your Daughter to Work Day, I'm going to let her kind of host the show a little bit. And she's going to ask me some questions. So that being said, how's your day going today?
It's going good. I think this is my first 5-day weekend.
Yeah. So Friday was off, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, President's Day, and 5-day weekend. Yeah. And the snow is still coming down. We have the windows open so we can actually see the snow, and it's coming down pretty hard. The roads are still covered in snow. So we'll see how it goes. It might be a 6-day weekend. So that's just kind of how that rolls here where we live. And sometimes you get snow days in the random times, and even when they're not really called for snow days. So one thing I want to talk about, because this was going to be a solo podcast, but then they didn't have school. So I don't know if you guys are covering it or watching it, but if you are not currently all about some WNBA free agency, the trades and the free agents going different places, I don't know what you're doing, not watching that. Lots of players changing teams. Angel McCourtney went to the Aces. We have Skylar Diggins went to the Phoenix Suns. Katie Lou Samuelson went to the Dallas Wings. Deanna Bonner went to the Sun, the Connecticut Sun from the Mercury. Dewana Bonner. There's a bunch more. I had a whole list written down. I just didn't bring it in here with me. But yeah, it's literally going to be like the craziest WNBA season. And on top of having like the WNBA draft is going to have Sabrina Ionescu in it going to some team. The Dallas Wings now they traded. So in their trade, they got I think it's the 2 pick, the 3 pick, the 5 pick, the 7 pick, the 9 pick. They have 4 picks in the first 9. So they could possibly make those trade turned into like a first pick if they maybe wanted to move up. Be kind of crazy, but excited for that. And also, since our dog is mad loud, and I forgot to shut the door, that's gonna happen right now. I'm not even gonna edit this out. By the way, I'm also still wearing my Pat McAfee shirts every day. Have for every day of this year. So, right, I'm always wearing Pat McAfee stuff. Just how it goes. By the way, thank you for getting this for me for Christmas. I think this came from you and Mom. You and Mom and Bean. So WNBA. Anything you want to talk about in that realm? WNBA. Any questions you have? I know you and your sister are just really starting to sit down and kind of digest like the game and like watching it and stuff. And this will be the first season you guys really like watch probably a ton of games. I know last year Bean watched a couple games. Picked the Mystics as her team. We went to go see a Mystics game when we went out to DC. Any questions you have for me? Anything like you might to help you get to know the league a little better? Any questions like who you should be watching or anything like that? Okay. Well, then we'll move on to some other fun stuff. So being your dad and having fun doing podcasts, is there anything that you find interesting about this kind of stuff, like podcast, or anything that like you wanted to do a podcast, with me. So like obviously there's something that interests you. Like what do you find interesting about like podcast or this stuff in general?
I just think it's cool to like talk about things.
Just to talk about things?
Yeah.
And like just to talk.
Yeah.
Just have conversations and stuff. I think it's really cool because I think in a day and age where, and I'm guilty of it too, being on your phone a lot and not the world not being so so open to like going out and like meeting new people. Like so like back when I was a kid, even as a military brat, we'd move around, we'd find kids in the neighborhood. And I know that happens here a little bit. We have a pretty decent neighborhood that has like a lot of kids that out to play. So you guys make friends, but I think not as many people sit down and actually have conversations like just about stuff and let them go free flowing. So I think that's a really thing I like about podcasts, especially like I listen to like Pat McAfee. So he talks a lot about sports and just like what's going on in life. And then Heartland Radio, and they kind of talk about a bunch of stuff, some news stuff, some funny stuff that happens to them, a little bit of everything. Then you got 31 Podcast, which is Brant Tobler. He like listens or he talks to like a bunch of comedians and asks them questions, and then he does like prank calls and stuff. And then he has like a one that he does with his girlfriend, so they talk about their life. And then like Burt Cast, it's like Burt Kreischer's podcast. He's a comedian. He talks to other comedians and other people as well, like just stuff he gets passionate about. Like he had a spear fisher lady on there. I guess she's not a spear fisherman. Maybe she is a spear fisherman. I don't know, but she's a lady. She's really good at it. And he's had like inventors on there, but he has a lot of comedians on it. It's really fun. Joe Rogan podcast is another podcast that's like has a bunch of people. He has like scientists. He's a comedian, but he also used to host the show Fear Factor, and he does the UFC commentary. So he has like UFC fighters. He has like scientists. He has like presidential candidates. He has comedians. He has like you name it. He's got a bunch, and he's like the number one podcast probably in the world. And like so he has a lot of cool stuff. So like it's just cool to like be able to like listen to people's conversation, like even if it's like it's interview style, but it's also like a back and forth. So like Joe Rogan will ask like Elon Musk, do you know who Elon Musk is? Elon Musk is the guy who like basically like put Tesla on the map, you know, the Tesla cars. So like did that. SpaceX like put rockets into space and stuff like that. So so like he's a pretty big, so he'll like ask him a question, be like, oh, how does that blah blah, and then like he'll answer, and then Joe Rogan would be like, oh, that's like this blah blah, and it just start rolling, and then you have these conversations that like are just like almost like two friends talking, but like it's so informative, and it's like a really cool thing to listen to, and especially like you know when you're driving and all that kind of stuff. So I just did a commercial for podcast basically just now. That was that's me selling everyone on podcast. So I get what you're saying because it's really cool like to have like the conversation and have people talk. If you could listen to a podcast with any two people, who would it be? And like even if it's people I don't know, because I know some of them might be like Disney stars that I have no clue, but like if you could put a microphone in between two people and listen to their conversation on a podcast.
That's hard.
It's a good question though. While you're thinking about it.
I would say probably hey, that's really hard. I've never thought about that.
Who are like two, and they don't have to be from the same thing. So it's like sometimes I think like having people from different vantage points would be like really cool. So like I listen to all those podcasts that I just listed. So like I'm like Joe Rogan and Pat McAfee would be a good one because like it'd be kind of cool to like hear like Pat McAfee coming from like the NFL player like side that's kind of come into comedy and podcasting, whereas like Joe Rogan's come from the other side of like acting into like but they kind of have some common interest overlay, but like they also have a difference of like things. So like it'd be really cool to see them. Same thing with like Brant Tobler and like Pat McAfee would be cool because Brant Tobler's a comedian. Pat McAfee does comedy, but he also does a podcast. So like they would have different experiences. They also have like things that could overlay. So like, I don't know if I've told you this. I know you've watched Brant's This Is Not Happening, whatever. But one time, Brant Tobler and this other comedian, Jeff Dye, they stole Mike Vanderjack's jersey. Mike Vanderjack used to kick for the Colts, which is mom's team. He has a bar in Florida, and like they were trying to take something so they could be at home and be like, "Oh, I have a coaster from Vandy's or whatever." It's this bar, and they decided on the way out, the only thing that wasn't tacked down, like that they could actually grab, was these jerseys, these big jerseys. They're probably like the size of like two of these together, like big jerseys. And there was an Edgerrin James and a Mike Vanderjack, so they stole the jerseys and they took them back to their where they were staying for the comedy show, like the condo or whatever, and they like put them on and like wore them and they took pictures. So like it'd be funny for like Brant Tobler to talk to Pat McAfee, because Brant Tobler stole a kicker from the Indianapolis Colts' jersey, who also happened to go to like West Virginia, which is where Pat McAfee went, and then Pat McAfee became the punter for the Colts. They didn't play together, but there's like that little like overlap. So it's like those kind of things where like the worlds just touch a little bit. Those would be like my kind of podcast. So like there could be like two different like people that you like don't even like aren't even in the same genre. Like if you like basketball and you're like Sabrina Ionescu interviewing or talking to Pink, like, you know what I mean? Like they don't have to be like correlated. So hopefully maybe that helped you.
Yeah, it's hard still.
I was trying to give you some time to think about it.
I got one person.
Okay.
But I can't remember her name at all.
What does she do?
She was in Girl Meets World.
Okay. Sabrina Carpenter? Blonde girl?
One. That's the other one. But her best friend.
The one that's like Topanga and their actual kid?
Yeah.
All right. You start thinking of another one. I'll Google it. That's easy enough. It can be anyone.
I would say probably like Pink and Kesha.
Pink and Kesha?
Yeah.
I can't. My internet's being stupid. But so Pink and Kesha talking.
Yeah.
That would be interesting. That'd be a cool musical podcast for sure. That'd be awesome. Like, what would you like want to hear them talk about? Like
what got them into music, and would they like? Did they ever think to do a song together? Or
have they done a song together? I don't think so either. But
and like how they met, like if they met through like music or something.
That could be good. That could be real cool. That would be a real cool podcast. I think that'd be real cool, because I think both of them have a decent amount of like hand in their writing of their music as well. So like they're both like songwriters and stuff. So well, cool. That's a cool like a little beginning to the podcast. I'm gonna hand my phone to you now, and we are going to do some quick fire questions. We'll start at 1. And then, so you just read one and I'll answer it. And then if you have anything to add, we add to it, and we'll do them as rapid fire or as long as it takes.
I do swipe left or right.
That way. So.
All right. So number 1, what are you excited about right now?
I'm excited about doing this podcast with you. I think that I don't get a lot of time to like do things that like really interest me a lot, to like do things to show you guys like how interested I am in this kind of stuff. And you've kind of caught a little interest, which is cool. And so I'm really interested to see this. And then also it's like a little time capsule. So like in a couple of years, I'll be able to look back and this is me having a conversation with my 12-year-old daughter. So.
Number 2, what was your first thought when you woke up today?
My first thought when I woke up today was, that smells like Clorox bleach. And that was because our older dog had an accident and mom had cleaned it up, and I could smell the bleach. So that was the first thing I thought of this morning.
Okay. Number 3, What do you want to accomplish by your next birthday?
I would like to. My birthday's coming up actually, so in May. So, and it happens to coincide with us going on a trip. I would like to accomplish being 170 pounds because I feel like as your dad and as you guys get older and you guys are doing more, and I'm approaching my 40s, I would like to be in the best physical shape I can so I can be around for you guys and your brother and be like really involved in your guys' life and help you guys and not be sick. So I think losing a little bit of weight, move around a little bit better. And then, yeah, I think that's probably like the most logical one. Also, I'd like to learn more about making cartoons. So
That's cool. All right. Number 4. If you could be famous for one thing, what would it be?
famous for one thing. Oh, I think it would be cool to be famous for this podcast, but I don't know because it goes deeper. Because like I think part of the reason why I like doing podcast is because I like podcast. I think it would be really cool to have like to be famous. Yeah, I think famous for this podcast because then it would open up to the ability to go to other people's and do their podcast and like get to meet some of the people that like I really like enjoy their work. So I think like doing this social media podcast sort of stuff would be the thing that would be pretty cool. I mean, if you're asking 18-year-old me, I would have loved to be famous for playing baseball, but now being realistic, if you're asking 36-year-old me, yeah, famous for doing this podcast, I guess.
Okay. I have one thing to add
Yeah.
to that one. So, like, what would be your second one? Like, if you couldn't be famous for this podcast, what would be your backup?
I would like to really be famous for being like the dude that like had helped it. You know, it's like, and this is sound like such a Homer dad answer, but like, I would love to be famous for like in a couple years, like your sister being in the WNBA and like you like being like the thing that you want to be achieve, like whatever that is. Cause I know we like talked a little bit and you haven't quite found the thing that you would like for sure want to do. So whatever you do, but like, I think you're going to want to do something in the public eye. I just have that feeling. Like, so it'd be like, wow, did you know that guy's the dad of that WNBA player, that singer, or whatever you turn out to do. And then also like their brother is like a famous Major League Baseball player. Like, I think that would be cool. Like, I'd like to be famous for being your guys' dad because I think you guys are really, really special kids and do like really awesome things. And I know like you're going to work on like trying to get this cheer thing up at school and like some other cool stuff. So like I really just like look forward, and like I love watching Bean's journey because like she knows what she wants to do. And I know that Rhino loves baseball and it seems like he's gonna just want to probably do that. But if he wants to do something else, cool, we'll get him into that. But as of right now, baseball seems to be his thing. And then watching you is like almost one of the more exciting things because like you don't know what you want to do. So like it's kind of cool to like watch you feel out the things that you like might want to do and see if they're the thing. And then when you do that, then we're going to just put all of our effort into helping you achieve that goal. So if I can't be famous for being a podcaster, I'd love to be famous for being your dad, your guys' dad. I'll be in the background. I'll just be like,
yeah. All right. Number 5. What's the best thing about your life?
The best thing about my life is my family. Without you guys, I don't think that I'd be the person that I am today. Good and bad, but I think more so good. Most of the good things I do is because of you guys, your mom, your sister, your brother, you. What was the question again? Sorry.
What's the best thing about your life?
Okay, best thing about my life. So yeah, I thought it was a different. I thought I was answering wrongly. Yeah. So best thing about is you guys. Like without you guys, I wouldn't be nearly the person I am. I wouldn't have the drive. If I was a single guy that had no kids, I probably wouldn't nearly try to accomplish as many things as I do. And I do a lot of that because I wake up and I want to set an example for you guys doing the things that you want to do. like, I know this podcast isn't a huge podcast, but like, I've done some cool things that, like, whether it be the work I do with Brant, helping that thing grow, or like, you know, the Pat McAfee thing. I know you guys were excited about that. And like, you guys have watched the little clip of him, like, talking to me on the phone, like, and you get excited, like, from his show, like, those kind of things, like, just to show you guys that, like, nothing's impossible. Like, that's, and I don't think I would nearly have any drive like that if it wasn't for me feeling like I definitely need to set that example for you guys. So you guys are the best thing for me.
Okay. All right. Number 6. What's a small thing that makes you feel happy?
Small thing makes me feel happy. I don't know. Like, there's a number of ways to answer that. I'll just cheap out and I'll say coffee. Coffee makes me happy.
Number 7. What's something you want to do but you can't yet?
Want to do but I can't yet. Like something that I like would need to learn because I can't do it, or like I'm just waiting for it to happen.
Waiting for it to happen, I guess.
I guess it'd be like working for Pat McAfee. I think, like, it's something I definitely want to do. It's definitely a dream job. Like, I mean, that would be really awesome. Like, I know it's something that we've talked about at dinner tables and stuff, and like, you guys get excited. And I think part of the reason why you guys get excited, because you're like, man, that's like Dad's dream. Like, he could possibly do his dream. That's really cool. So, and I'm just waiting. And it may not happen, but you know what? It's something that's closer to happening than it's not happening, because it's been talked about before. So, and even if that's the furthest it gets, that's a real cool story to get to tell my grandkids and get to tell you guys, and like, see that, like, you know, if you just put some work in and you do some cool things and you like follow your heart, that sometimes like awesome things can happen. So I think that would be, I guess that's the answer.
All right. I have one thing to
Mm-hmm.
ask that. Not like your backup plan, but like, what's another thing?
Another thing? I'm waiting for. You know what? I keep pushing off that, like, on my bucket list. And it's one of the things that's always been on my bucket list. There's 2 things that have always been on my bucket list, and it's changed a little bit over time, but getting paid, winning something, or getting paid in a giant check. Have you ever seen those giant checks? That's one. But the other one, which is probably falls in line with this, is I want to run a marathon at some point. And I really just need to commit to it and train a little bit and like get back into running, because I love running. It's a good way to think, and it's also like a good way to listen to podcasts. But yeah, so maybe running a marathon.
All right, next question. What makes you feel loved?
Oh, what makes me feel loved? Being, you know, it's like, I guess I'll go to actions, because like those are the easiest things to like quantify. But like, when I come home from work and like you guys are already here, and then like Rhino like is like, Daddy, and he runs over and gives me a hug, or like giving you and your sister, like, tucking you guys in and giving you guys hugs at night, like feeling you guys giving me hugs and telling me like sweet dreams, and like be safe at work and stuff, because you know I get up a little earlier than you guys. Like, those are all kinds of things that like make me feel loved. I think like knowing that somebody else is just thinking about like your safety and like also just cares about you, like those are the things that like I hold on to pretty dearly.
All right. Oh, this one's a good one. What will you be doing in 10 years?
So from the previous question, hopefully I'm helping run a multi-billion-dollar Pat McAfee Inc. In some form or fashion, like whether it's helping out with something, but working in that field. Also, like anything in that field, maybe it's this podcast blowing up. We're working on getting Brant Tobler bigger. I think something in that. I think I've found something in that field. There's some other stuff too. that involves like animation and like cartoons and like design and graphic design, something in that field. I think hopefully working for myself. I'll be 1,000% honest. Not necessarily that Pat McAfee wouldn't be like that is a dream job and that would be way cool. But like, if not, maybe working for myself and doing like some having clients where I create like or like run like social media and internet and create content. Maybe that's not working for myself, but maybe being like helping multiple like Pat McAfee types do put out like graphics and content and like stuff like that, but maybe do that for like multiple outlets. Like it'd be real cool to be like that guy for like Bert Kreischer and like Brant Tobler and Pat McAfee and all the people that I enjoy. That'd be real cool to like get to like work on that. Cause I think in 10 years, these podcasts are going to be like the standard and going to be really big. And like, I can't wait to see, I'm sure you and your sister will probably have one at some point, and I'll be helping you guys with yours and stuff like that. So I think that's where 10 years from now, I hope that's like the professional way. Like, I think personally, you guys will be in college. You'll be just getting ready to get out of college. Your brother will be your age basically right now. And me and your mom will probably be doing the same thing we do right now, going to AAU baseball games or something like that. And then hopefully, honestly, making working over the next 10 years really hard to like solidify it and be the husband that your mother deserves. So that's personal. So.
Number 10. If you could only eat one food for an entire year, what would you choose?
It's tough. So, as you know, I'm currently doing keto. So, if I'm eating one food okay, so I'll give you a keto and a non-keto answer. If it was keto, it'd be probably sausage patties, because I absolutely love those like Walmart brand sausage patties. For some reason, they're really good. They have 0 carbs, so that'd be perfect for keto. I could eat those things all day. Then if it's non-keto, that's a tough. Is it the same thing, but I can have different options?
Sure.
So like if I have pizza, can I have different pizzas? Like one day pepperoni, one day sausage, or do I have to have only pepperoni pizza?
Only pepperoni.
Okay. That might make. So I was between tacos and pizza. So one thing. I would I'm gonna do it. Little Caesar stuffed crust, pepperoni, extra most bestest pizza. Little Caesar sponsor the podcast. Okay.
Okay. Number 11. If you could have one superpower.
Wait. First of all, I'm gonna break the mold. What's yours? If you could only eat one thing.
That's hard because I like tacos, but I also have like this craving for like nachos too.
Nachos?
I love nachos.
Could you eat nachos every day though?
Yes.
All you have is what, chips and cheese?
Yeah.
That's like not even like real nachos. Like, you'd have to put like meat on it for it to be like, you'd die if you just ate chips and cheese every day.
Fine, tacos.
Okay. Be responsible. Jeez. Okay.
All right. If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
One superpower. I would like the ability to. Oh, that's tough. Well, it would be cool to have be able to like move like 10 times faster than like everybody else. Like, so like you could get 10 times the amount of things done than like the normal person. So like, I guess like being able to move fast, like the Flash or something would be kind of cool. Like, cause I could take down like the Christmas lights, but I could also like edit a podcast, but I could also like listen to podcasts that would be also fast and I could hear them at like a supersonic speed. And then like also like run around the block. I'd be super fit if I was running everywhere. So probably just being able to run fast, like move fast.
That's a tough one for me because like I like I like speed.
Yeah.
Like super speed.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, but I also like invisibility because like I would be awesome at hide and seek.
Yeah. Hide and seek champ. Invisible. It's hilarious.
Number 12. What's the best thing that has ever happened to you?
Best thing that's ever happened to me. I got a couple of those. Meeting your mom. When I was 12, me and mom met. I think that's probably the best thing that's ever happened to me. And I know I say this a lot, but like, and she probably doesn't believe me, and she probably thinks it's stupid, but like we were military brats, so like we met in 7th grade, and I loved her. Like I genuinely like I didn't know it at the time because I was like 12 and I just didn't know, but like we moved that in that summer. So like I remember driving away on the bus. I sat next to this girl, Tamara Williams. We drove back home and she was like, Taya's gonna miss you. Like she's gonna miss you a lot. And I was like, I miss her. And I was like, I'm moving. That sucks. And like it was pretty devastating. And then we moved and we drove past their house for some reason. And she was out in the front yard playing. And I looked back out the window. It was like, so we turned almost like basically I could see our front yard. She was out in the front yard and I was just waving to her. And when I turned around in my seat and sat down, like my heart broke. Like just like genuine heartbreak. Like, and I didn't realize, I guess probably at the time, but like that was the first woman I ever loved. So then reconnecting with her later on in life, and then being able to make this family has been like the best thing that's ever happened to me in my entire life. And because I don't think I'd have anything that I have today if it wasn't for meeting your mom. So
that was a hard one for me, so I'm not gonna answer.
Yeah. You're young. You still have lots of time.
What's the worst thing that has ever happened to you?
Worst thing that's ever happened to me. I don't know. That's a tough one. I've been very fortunate in the fact that I haven't had a ton of crazy things that have been like really, really hard to happen. Man, I don't know. That's tough. I think maybe I don't know. I don't think I have one. I don't think I genuinely have a worst thing. Maybe the worst thing that's ever happened to me is myself, to be honest with you. Like, just like the way I've handled a lot of things, like I'm probably the worst thing that's ever happened to me. I know that's like real, like got real kind of deep there, but like, I don't know, just maybe me being me in certain ways is the worst thing that's ever happened. I think I've ruined some things just by being so abrasive at sometimes, and also just I don't know. Maybe that's it. I can't think of anything. Like I was gonna say my mom having a stroke. That was like really scary. So like, but I think probably the worst thing that's ever happened to me is just me, just being me in certain moments before I figured out that like everything's not like torched the earth in a fight. So
what are you most proud of?
What am I most proud of? Being a dad. 1000%. Like nothing makes me prouder than being you, your sister, and your brother's dad. Like I've accomplished some pretty cool things in my life, and you guys could score a goal in Pee Wee soccer, and I was like, that was like the greatest accomplishment ever. Like it's just like that's the genuine truth. Like being a dad is like probably the coolest thing ever, and like the thing I'm most proud of. So,
which rule do you have to follow that doesn't make sense?
Which rule do I have to follow that doesn't make sense?
That doesn't make sense to me.
Oh, I know why that's on there. So like this is actually like geared for kids. So it's like questions to ask your kids. So like what rule? Like so actually let's do a switch. What rule do you have to follow that you think makes no sense? And you can and I'm not going to get mad at you. Honest answers.
That's really hard. I mean, I know the rules I have to follow, but it doesn't make sense.
Do any of them not make sense to you? Do any of them? Are any of them like that's a dumb rule?
No.
You know a rule
I think of any.
as a. I would say this, like it's not a rule in our household, but like I know mom likes the bed to be made. I think making the bed is the dumbest rule ever. You're just gonna get back in it later on.
Actually, yeah, I agree with that because, like, I don't understand why I have to make my bed. Literally, I just use the blanket. I don't use the comforter.
Yeah, that is true. You sleep on top of your comforter or whatever. I mean, you have the easiest bed making though. You just literally have to fold your little blanket.
That's what I think.
Making the bed is the dumbest thing ever though. For real though, because like you're just gonna get back in it.
That's what I think of sometimes. Literally, when I wake up, I'm like, oh, I have to make my bed, but I'm just gonna get in it like as soon as I get home. Yeah. So what's the point?
Exactly. Making the bed.
Yeah, I guess.
Not that that's an actual rule in our house for sure, but like I know mom does like you guys to make your beds.
Yeah.
And mom likes to make the bed. Not all the time. Mom's not that crazy though. Like, she's not like it has to be made. Like sometimes our bed isn't made, but
yeah. Okay. So I just did 15. Okay, number 16. If you could pack anything in your lunch tomorrow, what would it be?
Anything in my lunch tomorrow. I'll be 1,000% honest. This is gonna be like the realest answer ever because I am doing keto. I can find a lot of things like the crunchy thing. I can eat some pork rinds. I can eat some I can make the pepperoni in the oven. Those get crispy. The one thing that I have a hardest time finding on keto is legit like candy. Like if I could have like a completely works into the keto thing candy that was like gummy bears or like those sour trolleys or like Sour Patch Kids. Anything like that. I know they make smart sweets. Those still have a lot of carbs in them or a decent amount of carbs. They're good. But like if I could just eat an entire like pork rinds have 0 carbs. Okay. If gummy bears had 0 carbs, I could eat gummy bears all day. I wish keto gummy bears that were like 0 carbs. That's what I wish. What about you?
I like the white cheddar Cheez-Its.
White cheddar Cheez-Its? Those are pretty good. Those are pretty legit. Those are pretty legit. That's the one thing, though. Did we get any on the last grocery trip?
The last, but not this one.
Okay. Well, write it down on the whiteboard, and we'll make sure we order them.
All right. I have to switch to this one. All right. Number 17. What makes you feel special?
What makes me feel special? I like getting recognized for like doing cool things. Like that kind of makes me feel special. I think that's always been like that. So I got in the newspaper when I was like in 5th grade I was on the student council and we did a book drive and I was like in the newspaper for that. I was also in the newspaper when I was in kindergarten because we sent cards from Iceland to like, I think like somewhere overseas to like soldiers and stuff. It was like Christmas cards. We wrote them out and we had a drive for that. I didn't realize I was as involved in school until just now, but yeah. So twice I was in the actual newspaper. I was also my first t-ball game. I was Iceland sports, like the entire base, and there was a ton of sports. They film a bunch of stuff. I was the Iceland sports on the news for making the play of the week because I turned a double play. My first ball I ever fielded in baseball, and also my team traded me. Think about that. My first t-ball game, we had 12 kids. The other team had 8. They needed 1 player, and they sent me to the other team, and I turned a double play on my own team. A double play is where you get 2 outs in 1 play. So I made them pay for it. So I guess like stupid stuff like that that's kind of cool.
All right, I'm going to answer that one because I thought about it.
Okay.
Like when I made it, like just helping somebody out.
That's cool.
Like helping someone, like an old person, like get across the street that way they don't get hit by a car or something. It's just because if they did get ran over by a car, that would make me feel like, I don't feel great anymore. Like, but if I help them, I'm like, oh yeah, I feel special because I didn't get ran over.
That is true. And you guys are really good about that. Like you and your sister are really good about helping like even younger kids or like your own age kids like get stuff done, or at the store like grabbing something for somebody if they dropped it. You guys are really caring kids. So yeah, so I can see that.
All right. Number 18. If you had to choose only 3 words to describe yourself, what would you say?
Ooh. Caring. I do care. I have a what's a good word for like spontaneous? Like, you know, like when like sometimes I'm just like, let's build a tent, like, or whatever. Like fort, let's build a fort, like random stuff like that. It's like I guess like caring, spontaneous.
Funny?
No, it's a negative one. I'm thinking of trying to think. Probably I'll censor myself because you're on here. I'm probably an a-hole, to be honest with you. I'm a caring, spontaneous a-hole. It's probably that it spans me as a person. Spontaneous, but I also do care a lot. But then I have a-hole moments that.
Okay.
So.
Okay, I'm not gonna answer.
Does that seem accurate though?
Not the last one.
You don't think so?
No.
I definitely think so.
I think that you get mad sometimes, but you're not.
Yeah, but I say some stupid stuff that aren't true. I didn't learn how to fight properly as a kid. As like I say stuff that doesn't mean anything, and that's like a-hole. That's like being an a-hole because like you're hurting other people's feelings because they're taking it seriously because they don't know that you're just saying things because you're hurt and you're just trying to deflect. So that's something I need to get better at.
Okay. If you were invisible, where would you go and what would you do?
If I was invisible, where would I go?
That's a hard one.
It's a real hard one. I probably short span thinking. I would say if I was invisible, I'd like to go on stage or like on the court or like on a baseball field or like during a game, like, and just be there, like on a major league like field, like behind the pitcher, like getting that close up view, or like being on the court and like running up and down the court with like the guys as they like played like in like a big game, or like going on stage like during stand up or like a concert or something like that. I think that'd be kind of cool.
I don't really know.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some.
Number 20. What do you worry about the most?
What do I worry about the most? So far, luckily in life, it hasn't been a super concern, but like I constantly worry about your guys' well-being, like you and you guys, the kids and mom, and also just stability. I constantly, I think, worry about like losing my job or something like that. Probably like just not like because I'm doing anything, but just because of like where as we get progress through life, like we've given you guys like a pretty good upbringing, but like at the same time, like I know very quickly things can change. So like I think that's probably my biggest worry, like for sure. As a kid, it was getting locked in an arcade with a clown while my parents were bowling. Just but yeah.
I'll share because I know what mine would be. I actually worry about this like every day when I wake up, and I'm like, what if like somebody died today?
Yeah.
Like somebody, not like a kidnapper because they're bad people, but like,
yeah.
But like somebody who was like Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
Like nobody knew that was gonna happen.
It's true.
But then it did happen.
Yeah.
So that's what I worry about.
I think that's a good way to live. Oh, you know what I would love to like. Oh, if I can get him on the podcast, that'd be cool too. Maybe we can find him somewhere online today, and we can watch him since we have a snow day. There is this. It was on MTV. It's called The Buried Life. Have you ever heard of that? Okay, so it was these 4 dudes. I think they're from Canada. I could be wrong, but basically they they decided they'd make this list, things they wanted to do before they died.
Mhm.
Right. And so, but in the process of doing the thing that they wanted to do before they died, they would also try to help somebody else achieve something they wanted to do before they died. So it was really cool. And MTV made a show out of it, and they get to play basketball with like Barack Obama, and like they did a bunch of cool stuff. Like they snuck into like the Playboy Mansion. They did a bunch of crazy stuff. They're interesting episodes. We should definitely like try to see if we can find them, maybe on YouTube or something. But all of that being said, I think that's like basically I think the name of the show comes from a book, The Buried Life, and I think it's basically about living your life as if like today might be the last one. You know what I mean? So that kind of goes along with like what you're saying. Like you wake up and you're like, man, I think that's the way to live life. I think you should be afraid that somebody could die today, but you should also take that for yourself and say, today could be my last day. And what if today was my last day? What did I do today? What did I achieve? What have I done? Because I think that's cool. And I think that's a good way to go about. It's kind of weaves into the conversation we had last night about doing things that you really want to do and you have passion for, right? I think even in the pursuit of it, I wanted to be a Major League Baseball player. I got to a level that could have happened, and I messed my arm up twice. And I never regret my baseball career because I knew I gave my all and I took it the furthest it could go. Right. So like living life to the fullest. So I think that's a good tie in there. That probably had nothing to do with the question, but it's a good tie in. Also good thing to think. Like that's a good way to think. Be worried about that, because then it maybe will charge you as a person to be like, what can I do today? Because what if today's my day, right? Mm-hmm. Just never know.
Number 21. What's something you're looking forward to?
Vacation. 1,000%.
Me too. I'm looking forward to the cruise because I'm like
vacation. Yeah. Yeah. It's also why I need to get in shape so I can spend the entire vacation without my shirt
on. When do you feel happiest?
When do I feel happiest? This is going to sound so stupid. I feel happiest a lot of times in the car with like all of us, because I think actually it's not every time we're in the car. I feel happiest when we're like in the car or like we're in like out to dinner or like something, and like we're all engaged in the conversation and we're like asking each other like almost like this, like questions, right? Like one person asks a question and then we all answer, and then the next person, when we do that, I just love that. Or like when we're like listening to music and like you're like, oh, there's this song and we like this, and then we like put on like some song from like Me and Mom's Day, and you guys are like, oh, I like this, like, and we just talk about it and we talk like, and we have these like in-depth conversations with you guys. I think those are my funnest times. Like that's when I'm the happiest, being around you guys, but also like basically if like someone dropped a mic, be a great podcast, right? Mm-hmm. Like would be like those are my funnest times. Like when like I look back and I'm like, man, I wish I had recorded that conversation because that was awesome. And like we're all just sitting and we're all engaged, me, you, Mom, and and then Rhino as he gets older. Like
I'm not gonna answer that because that's horrible for me, but related to like music from your guys' time. Yeah. So Ryan said, "Okay, Google, play PJ Masks on YouTube on the Big Room TV," and then it said, and then it played an NSYNC song that I didn't even know.
Yeah.
And he was jamming out to it, and I'm like, "How do you know this song?"
Rhino loves music. He's a music guy.
I don't even know this song.
He's a music dude.
Okay.
I would say don't sit too much further back because you might be out of the frame.
Number 23. What's the most important thing you've learned so far?
Most important thing I learned so far. I don't know, because I think there's a lot of important things. Like if you really break it down, I'm like, like I've learned how to take care of myself. Like, because if you don't, like, if you didn't learn how to take care of yourself, like, you wouldn't be able to live. So then I wouldn't be able to take care of you guys. So, like, if I go to like a really big level, probably that. Probably trying to be patient, more patient, or not more patient. That's a bad one because, like, it's not really patience, but thinking before I speak. And it's something I'm still working on learning to do, but I think that's the most important thing I've learned is be intentional with the things you say, which is also why I love this podcast, because it makes me have to be intentional, because anything I say is going out to the internet, right? So like you have to be more intentional about the things you say. So that, like, a grand scale, like learning how to survive as taking care of myself. Obviously I have to like shower and brush my teeth and like feed myself and learn how to drive so I can get to do my job. And that's probably the most important thing I've ever learned. But like, yeah. So.
All right, this one's a good one. What's your favorite joke?
It's my favorite joke. Ooh, it's funny because I love comedy, but I don't know if I can think of one great joke off the top of my head. What's my favorite joke? What's my favorite joke? What's my favorite joke? Do you have a favorite joke?
Yeah.
What's your favorite joke?
I don't know if you've heard of this one, but my friend told me it the other day. So she said, "What does a DJ say at a party?"
What does a DJ say at a party?
Yeah, and I said, "What?" And then she was like, "Richard."
That's so fun. It's like so simple. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I have a favorite joke, to be honest with you, because I think most of the comedians that I really like are like storytellers. So it's just like telling a funny story. But there are some good jokes. I wish I could think of some. I might come back to that one. I'll have to pass on that one. And if I think of one, I'll say it.
Okay. What is one thing you want to learn how to do?
What is one thing I want to learn how to do? I would love to learn how to make animations like Pixar movies, like 3D animation. Like that would be something cool. I probably won't ever learn how to do it because I don't think I have the time to actually like do it. And then by the time, I feel like that's something that maybe by the time you get around to doing it, you're already behind the curve because it's like such a thing that's like growing so fast that like by the time I learn all this, it's already out of date. But at some point in my life, I will make a cartoon, like a full-blown cartoon, at least one episode, or illustrate something. And I've already have that in the works. So yeah. So I think learning how to make like a Toy Story movie, like something like that would be real cool. I think there's so many good stories out there, like from podcasts, like that you could animate and like make some cool, like awesome things out of. I think that'd be real cool. Or even just tell your own story. Like you could write a story and be like, holy moly, like I now brought it to life.
Mine would probably be, I want to learn how to knit. Like
knit?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that I don't know how to knit, but
because my great grandma did it and she was, oh my god, she was so good at it.
Okay.
Like
that's something we can do. And going back to our conversation from last night, that's something you can do literally at home. Like we can just get you yarn and like you can knit. You can learn that.
It looks so hard.
I bet you we could find YouTube videos and you can learn real easy. I think your aunt knits too. I think mom's sister. She made Ryan a blanket, so I think so. Is that the end of it?
Let's see. Nope.
Okay.
Wait. Yeah, I think it is because it's that one again.
All right.
I thought it said dad, not low.
Learn how to do. No, we still got more questions.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, why is it back at 1 then?
It's not. That's a 4. Wait.
Yeah, but why did it go back to
Did you ask this already? What's something someone...
Yeah, but why is it back at 1?
If you could change one. Okay, so this says... It's not.
It says 1 right right there.
Did you start on this? No. Did you start on this?
No, I started on that one.
You started. Oh, no. So there's 3 sets of questions. So you have a couple questions left to ask me. So we'll pound through these ones.
So this one?
Yep, and then you swipe over. So this is a different set of questions.
Okay. What's your favorite thing to do as a family?
Have conversations. Like I said earlier, like those kind of fun, deep conversations, ask each other questions, learn about each other. I think that's my favorite thing to do as a family.
My favorite thing would like do traditions like time capsules.
Oh, that's cool too. Yeah.
Family board game night. Like
Oh, board game night's cool
movie
too.
Night, stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Like fun nights.
We should do more of that too. Let's put that on the board too. When you put down white cheddar Cheez-Its, let's do more board games. Family nights.
What's something nice someone said to you lately?
Something nice someone said to me lately. I'll say it because I can't think of anything super, super duper nice, but Brant asked me about making videos, the videos I make for him. He asked me about the apps that like I use, and he said that he has a bunch of people that ask him like how they get made because they're cool. So I think that's something nice. Like there were obviously people that were like, "Oh, those are cool." So like that's kind of cool that like I made something that other people thought was cool. So
I can't think of anything. All right. Who understands you the best?
Who understands me the best? In real life, probably my brother. Like, because we were raised together and we think in a weird, strange way. I think my brother's probably the person who understands me the best. I think mom understands me a ton. Even if it's like she doesn't always like what it is, like she seems to get me a lot, even probably better than myself sometimes. So.
That's a tough one. I would say obviously my mom, but besides you guys, like if I had to say somebody else, I would probably say my friend Kennedy or Catherine.
Okay.
They both get me really well.
That's awesome. That's what you want in friends. You want them to get you.
Okay. Number 4. If you could change one family rule, what would you change?
If I could change one family rule, no making the bed for sure. No. One family rule. That's a tough one. We don't have a lot of family rules. I have a ton of them, and the ones we have make sense.
I think the only one I could think of, like, not like one that I could change, but like, because I don't want to change this one, but like one family rule I could think of that we have is just respect. Like I don't think we have any other rules.
We don't have any crazy rules. We're not like a super rule. Like, yeah, I can't think of anything.
All right. What's your favorite thing to do with your friends?
Favorite thing to do with my friends? Well, since I don't do a lot with my friends, I will say I'll give 2 answers. So me and mom try to do a couples date night with our friends down the street monthly. That's super fun because it's nice. I love you guys, you kids and stuff, but it's nice to like be able to like have adult conversation for a little bit. And then also in that same ballpark, I think like recording any kind of podcast. Like I've done the Anomalies podcast. I've done Brant's podcast. Having that, like sitting down and like having conversation. I love conversation. Also, the other one is sometimes on Saturday mornings when I go to work, I have 2 coworkers that are there the same time I load up, and we have some really interesting conversations that like would be really cool. Like also, I guess like maybe going to comedy shows because those are like the few. I don't do a ton of like stuff with friends because like we do so much stuff as a family. So those are probably it. Just spending time and talking.
If you could switch places with one person for a day, who would it be?
One person for a day?
That's hard.
That's so hard. Like on a really, really like real basis, like mom. I would like to know what goes on in their brain. Like, maybe I would understand things a little bit better, like from her perspective, and like be able to like do things better when I came back to being me. That I think that would be one. I think it'd be also cool to like, this is gonna be cliche, but like Pat McAfee, Joe Rogan, someone like that, just to see kind of what the day to day looks like on their end, and like see how like because they're highly productive people who have achieved a lot of success, and it'd be interesting to see maybe what it is that makes that happen. So,
I would say my friend Tatum, because she has like 5 brothers and no sisters.
oh man.
And I'm like, how do you live a life? Like,
yeah.
Only girl in the house is your mom.
Yeah, that's got to be crazy. I can imagine.
It's probably hectic in there sometimes.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah. Not understand what goes on.
Yeah.
All right. What's something you did to help someone today?
I changed Ryan's diaper. I cleaned Bailey's mess up. It's probably the 2 things that I did to help anybody today.
I don't know.
I guess I got Ryan chocolate milk. Mom had his breakfast already set up, so.
I don't know. I canned in one yesterday though.
What?
Not today. Helping you guys with Ryan.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. You guys are awesome. Yeah.
Even though I'm still a little devil. But
He's 2.5. Calm down.
Okay. What do you get to do at someone else's house that you wish you could do at yours?
Someone else out there wish you could do it. Like, I don't know anybody that has one, but one time I was watching HGTV, I think with your mom, and there was a house that had like a 3-story like water slide. That'd be kind of dope to do at my house. Having anything like that would be cool. Like having like if we had like an entire like if from our top, if like there was a way to have like a slide that like went outside of our house and like curled down, but then came into our basement, so I could slide from the top to the bottom, and then but then our basement was like had like a pool table, a ping pong table, like a giant theater room. Like it would just be like sliding into like this awesome like
arcade. Basically.
Yeah, basically, yeah. That'd be kind of cool.
I don't know if I've like ever seen it at anybody's house, but I think it would be great to have like a pool.
A pool? I don't think any of our friends have pools, but pools in Colorado are a little bit less like normal because it gets so cold.
Yeah.
Sweet.
All right. What advice would you give to hold on. Oh, it's on this one. What advice would you give to a younger sister or brother?
Younger sister or brother? Go after your dreams. Go after your dreams. Don't let anybody tell you you can't achieve them, because if you put in the hard work, you will get yourself to a point where you will get in the ballpark of luck taking over and you getting a chance. I think that's the thing. It's like, I think a lot of people are like, oh, he got lucky. That person got lucky. But they put in all this hard work to get them in this realm where like it's a luck bubble. That's how I honestly think. That's a great advice for you guys. I think anything you do in life, if you work hard at it, you're going to get so good or put yourself in a spot to where you get in this bubble that all these other people haven't worked hard for. And then you become one of the few people that just need to have this luck happen. So hard work is a lot of it. Luck takes over. And I think at some point, exposure or whatever it is, like, that's the thing that blows you up or like gets you that job or gets you to the pros or whatever it is. But you have to work hard. So like, go after your dreams, because even if it seems impossible, anything with hard work is very possible.
I would say kind of like yours, but like if somebody like a bully at school is like for being like, if she told her friend, I want to be in the WNBA when I grow up, and they were like, oh, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, you're not good at basketball. Like, don't listen to them.
Yeah.
Like, just act like you didn't hear that, and then just go after your dream anyway.
Yeah, I think it's so I've heard it on podcast. I think it's Gary V. Do you know who Gary V is? So Gary V is an entrepreneur. His dream is to own the New York Jets football team. He started out in his father's liquor store. He was an immigrant. He came over from another country, and now he's like worth millions of dollars and stuff. And he does basically what he wants to do for a living, which is awesome. He, especially with like social media, he says you can't get too high. You can't get high on the praise that you get, and you also can't get high, you can't get low on the negative stuff you get, because if you give the negative any kind of thing, you have to give the positive, or if you give the positive, you give the negative. So it's like staying even and knowing who you are is really how you succeed, because like people are going to be nice and they're going to pump you up, but then if they pump you up, then you're also probably going to listen to the negative. So being able to know who you are as a person and just see that end goal, I think is really important. So that's kind of like what you were just saying. And that's kind of like our two combined, sort of.
What's the smartest thing you heard somebody say today?
Smartest thing I heard somebody say today. Well, I've only been around you and your brother, so there's... I don't know that I've heard anybody say anything super smart today, like life-shatteringly smart. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Nothing that comes to mind with that one. Not today, at least.
Who made you smile today?
You made me smile today.
With?
Just being you. You're awesome. So, like, just like watching you grow up and like watch. Oh, I'll give you a specific one. So you and Ryan were playing Muppet Babies and stuff, and you were like doing the voices, and like I thought it was really cool. I was like, oh, that's cool. Like that you were like playing with him, even though he's like a lot younger than you. I thought that was like really awesome. That's yeah. Do it.
She was like, "Hey, Kermit," and then I was like, "Ooh, I can do that. I can do that when I play Fozzie."
Like, "Hey, Fozzie." I can't do any of the voices. Your mom's so good at voices; it's so ridiculous. I can't do any of them. Hey, do it. Gonzo. Gonzo's got a weird one. I like your "Hey, Kermit" though. That's funny.
Like, that's a hard one.
Yeah.
Gonzo. Man, I just lost it. I had one. Man, I just lost it.
It's all good.
All right, what's your favorite family tradition and why?
Favorite family tradition? Dude, I don't even know. There's so many of them. We do a lot of like stuff that's kind of cool. You know what is a cool family tradition, and I haven't always gone on it. I guess it's not my favorite one though. I don't know, to be honest with you. Like I would say my favorite family tradition is, but it's really just a me tradition. Is like I love Thanksgiving and like getting the food prepared, which mostly mom does, but like helping her out in like the time we've been together is like really cool, and like getting to watch football because it's the Lions and I'm a Lions fan. And then like mom usually makes like a lot of like lunch type stuff, so we always like kind of sit around. So I'd say like that, but then I don't know, like that's not really like a. I like I don't honestly. Oh, you know what? I like Secret Santa. I like the fact that it's not really secret. Like we just pull, like, and everyone shops for. We get to buy an extra gift for, or extra gifts depending on the price range we set. I think that's cool. So like I get to shop for sometimes like you, or sometimes Bean, or sometimes like Rhino, or sometimes Mom, and then sometimes and everybody else gets to shop for one extra. They get to buy one extra thing for somebody. So I like that one, because then those trips going to the store where like we take you guys and like we kind of like do it. It's kind of cool because then we get to spend time together. So I like that.
Wait, I read the question again. I would say mine is time capsules.
Time capsules are cool.
Really fun.
Yeah.
But they also like they're fun like to do and stuff, but then like every year when we do time capsules, I'm like, where did this thing go? And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. And then the next year I'm like, oh, that's where it was.
Yeah, you put them in time capsule and you forget about them. Carving pumpkins is pretty cool too. It's always messy and fun. So I think we do it. We have a lot of good ones. So
okay, so now I have something to add on to that.
okay.
Because I don't really know the answer to this one, but is there like any family traditions that we do that like nobody else does?
That nobody else does.
Like anybody that we know, like, but we brought it up to them because we started it basically. Or
I'm sure there is. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I know we always do Christmas lights every year. That's the thing. So we always drive around and see the Christmas lights, and like because we have some really good ones that like actually have like shows behind them and stuff and like change. And then we always usually stop at like Starbucks and we get like hot chocolates and we hop in the car and we go. I think that's one that we do that I think some other people have decided to do. I know we have friends who actually have a really cool house here. So that's kind of cool. So like, I think they obviously that's their tradition, but like, but driving around and actually seeing all of them. And like one night we do go see a bunch of them and spend a couple hours in the car and then like listen to like music and then like joke around and have fun and stuff. I don't like Christmas music. So it's like the one time of the year where I'm like, I can tolerate Christmas music. So.
I like the Talking Tree House.
Yeah, that's good.
Besides the Grinch House.
The which one?
The Talking Tree House.
Oh, the Talking Tree House. Yeah.
That's funny. Okay. What's the funniest thing somebody did or said today?
Did or said today? Funniest thing. I don't know. To be honest with you, probably when Rhino kicked you off the couch and then you were like, he's the devil. That was pretty funny. Just because he's in that like toddler stage where he's just like being a crazy kid and like
he was like kicking me and then I fell off and then he took my blanket and then
you were like, I'll just go over here then. Yeah, that was pretty funny.
All right, I got one.
Although it shouldn't be funny because he shouldn't have done it, but it was funny in the moment.
When we were talking about what's a rule that you don't want, like that doesn't make any sense to you, and you said making the bet. You just said get back in it.
It's just not making the bet so bad.
That's funny.
So bad.
All right. What was the last time someone was mad at you?
Last time someone was mad at me, probably mom over a basketball game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I would say that's probably the last time someone was real mad at me. Yeah. Okay. And yeah. No.
Nope. I'm not going to answer that. If we didn't have to go to school or work on Monday, what would you want to do all day? That's a hard one.
If the weather was nice, well, the easy answer is just like literally lounge out and not do anything. Because we go around and do a bunch of stuff so much. So, but I think I don't know. Like if we didn't have to work Monday, I would assume that means we're not working the weekend. So maybe Friday night we leave on a trip and go find something to get into. Just spontaneous adventure.
I would say like go get ice cream, but if it was canceled because of snow, then I'd be like, no, lounge out.
But people love ice cream when it's cold though.
True.
Like remember we went to Baskin Robbins I didn't get anything, but we went to Baskin Robbins and I got a Diet Coke. But there was like a line and it was like freezing outside. And the snow was coming down. So people love ice cream in the snow in the cold.
Okay, I have something to add about some previous question. Okay. It's about what's the funniest thing somebody did or said today.
Yeah.
It's related to that one. So don't think about today, but like what do you have something funny that any of us in this family has said this year?
Oh, yeah. The funniest thing you've ever said was Minecraft. That was hilarious. So Minecraft has all the pixels, and we were watching a Fall Out Boy video, and the dude flipped off the guy in the video, and it was like pixelated, and you were just like, you were so young, you were just like Minecraft, and you like correlated to it. It's really funny. Bean said something. Oh, funniest thing this year, we went to Raising Cane's, and your sister loves Raising Cane's. Don't know why. It's not that great. No one else in the family likes it. I was not doing keto diet, so I got whatever the 4-piece chicken meal or whatever, and then I got a Barks root beer, and she was like, "Don't you mean Bargs?" And she thought the Q was a G, so
that was funny.
She thought it was spelled BARG, and she thought it was Barks her entire life, but it's Barks. So that was pretty funny. We had a fun time with that one.
All right. We answered the Monday one, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Has someone ever asked you to do something that you didn't want to do?
Yeah, ride a roller coaster. It happened this summer. I think Bean was like, "I want to ride a roller coaster," and I was like, "Nope."
I can kind of relate to that one because I don't remember the name of it, but when we went to Disney World, I think.
Yeah.
And that ride was shut down because
the Aerosmith ride.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Because people got stuck going upside down.
I don't think I got stuck going upside down. I think I got stuck. I don't think I got stuck going upside down. I think that was just the magic thing.
I was like scared, and I didn't want to do it because like.
Yeah.
I don't like I like roller coasters like Space Mountain. I love that ride.
For some reason, I don't mind those. I don't mind the indoor ones, but I don't like wooden roller coasters. And Bean wanted to ride this wooden roller coaster, and I was like, out.
I love roller coasters, but once I go upside down, I'm like, yep, I'm gonna die today.
Yeah. Well, usually you're strapped in pretty good on those things, but.
Anyway. All right, I think this is the last question for you.
Okay.
What's the most important thing for a parent to do?
Be there for their kids. I think you have good parents, you have bad parents, you have good moments, you have bad moments. Mm-hmm. You're figuring it out just as much. So like if you have a kid when you become an adult and you're 36 years old, you're going to be like, man, I don't know what I'm doing. I think everyone naturally has a parent, some form, if they're being real with themselves, realize as they get older and they are a parent that like, you're really still trying to figure it out too. But like, I do know more than you because I've lived a life, but like, I think just being there is like the biggest thing because like, you're always learning stuff still, but like just being present is, I think, the biggest thing.
Okay.
So now it's your turn.
Yep.
Questions. All right. We're going to finish this bad boy up with 7 questions for Lolo.
Uh-oh.
All right, here we go. 7 questions. 20 years from now, where do you think you'll live? So 20 years from now, you'll be 32.
I don't know why, but I see myself living back in Virginia.
In Virginia, you think?
I don't know why. I see myself living there.
Because it's warm?
No, I just see myself living there. Like,
I can see that.
I don't know why. I just do.
If not Virginia, where?
Probably here.
Probably here. So, okay. What's the biggest problem in our world today?
That's a hard one.
No one said these were easy questions.
Probably like people going missing and stuff.
People going missing? Like how many people are going missing? Hello?
Mom tells us like every day. Oh yeah, this girl went missing.
Yeah. Well, that's the biggest problem in our world because we're trying to make sure you guys know that happens and kids go missing. But yeah, so I guess that is. I mean, in your world, I guess that is. Yeah. The biggest that's a big problem. So I would say I think just people respecting people is the biggest problem. You have so many Democrats and Republicans and like there's so many people just not respecting each other and like understanding that like we don't always have to agree on things to be respectful. And we're all like, so like for America, an example, right? Like we're divided as a country, red states, blue states. Do you know what that means? It's Democrats, Republicans fall down the line. A lot of people don't like our president. A lot of people do like our president. I think no matter which side you vote on or wherever you fall, I think understanding that the people who voted for or against are still people, and they're your fellow countrymen. They're your fellow Americans. And if we treated each other as Americans instead of Democrat, Republican, I think we'd get a longer way in the world, and I think we'd achieve more. So, and I think then taking that as like the world, we're America, but maybe also saying, you know what, like Mexico and Canada are North American countries that we share borders with. We're all people who live in this world. Let's take care of each other. And I think if the world could do that, I think it'd be a better place. If you could give everybody in the world one piece of advice, what would it be? What would you say?
Go after your dreams.
Go after your dreams. Everyone. Okay. I think that's awesome. That's an awesome one, especially for like places that are probably don't see things being able to change and get better. So I think that's an awesome one. If you could create one law that everybody on Earth had to follow, what would it be?
That's a hard one. I would say nobody is allowed to be a bully.
Nobody's allowed to be a bully. So people have to treat each other nice. Be probably a good one. Maybe if they did that, then the thing I was talking about might happen. So that'd be a good one. No one's allowed to be a bully. If you could learn any language, what would you learn? Like to be able to speak it fluently and have conversations and.
And then mine doesn't count.
What?
I was thinking about one, but that's not a language, really.
What?
Sign language
is a language? I mean, that's a good one.
I love sign language.
Sign language is a one. Then you could speak with all the people who you could communicate with all the people that can't communicate because they can't hear. So that's a language. I would say Spanish for me. I'd love to learn Spanish, like fluently. What will the world be like in 10 years? What will be the same and what will be different? So 10 years is 2030.
It's hard.
It's not that hard. Like, I mean, like,
I don't know.
Like, I think in 10 years, everything will be wireless. Like, we'll have, I think we'll have self-driving cars for like as more prominently. I think we'll probably we'll have jobs that can be done more remotely. So like we'll be able to spread out through the country and people will be able to live in places where they couldn't live before and have jobs and take care of their families. I think that's like, I think a lot of things I'll say the same are like, I think we'll still have Republicans and Democrats and like people complaining about politics and, we'll still have bad people in the world. Like there'll still be murders and stuff like that. And like, that's just like, I think part of life. I think that's like something we'll never get rid of fully. But yeah, like that kind of stuff. Like, but that was obviously stuff you would never say. So I was trying to give you an example of like what's one thing you think will be different, one thing that will be the same.
I feel like one thing that will be different. I don't know why I feel like this, but I feel like somebody out in the world today is gonna like create like 10 different languages.
Okay, so new languages.
Reason.
Okay, it's possible.
And then something that I think will stay the same. It's a hard one. I don't know.
Okay. Easy enough. This is the last one. If you could live in any country for 1 year, where would you live? Obviously not America.
Italy's a country, right?
Italy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Italy. Yeah.
Italy? What do you like?
Cool.
What do you like about Italy?
I don't know. It's just like the name sounds
Italy
cool.
sounds cool.
Just like it sounds.
They have a lot of Italian food, which is like pasta and stuff like that. They have a lot of good food.
Just sounds really fancy.
Kind of does sound fancy. Italy's kind of fancy. If I could live anywhere for 1 year, I don't know. I'd probably pick somewhere warm, like a beach or something. But I don't really know.
Hawaii, okay.
Hawaii's America, dork. I would like to go to Hawaii, but like it's the same country we live in. So like probably somewhere like, I don't know, like the Bahamas or something. I guess that's technically like America too, but I don't know, like something like that. I guess I don't know, like one of those little islands that has like beaches all day, and I'd be rich and wouldn't have to worry about it. So, yeah. So that's our snow day podcast. Bringing your daughter to work day.
I want more questions.
You want more questions? We'll have you back on some other time. I'll do some research and we'll get some other ones. I'll have you and your sister back on. But thanks for doing the podcast with me. Thanks for sharing a cup of coffee with me. And anything you want to leave the people with?
Wait, can we do what we did like on the other podcast that we did, like where we have to we have to ask a question, that way you guys can answer it next time?
Well, no, because you guys still, because I did an interview with Gems and he answered your guys' questions and then he asked a question. So I haven't had that question answered yet. So yeah. So that's for like interviews. You actually just hosted this podcast with me. This is like a solo podcast, but I did it with you. So yeah. So we had fun, huh? Not a bad way to spend a snow day. This is like audio visual class. You guys have that? AV club? You don't have that? You will in high school, I think, probably. But audio visual clubs, like they set up like all of the video and the audio stuff. So like you guys have like where like people do announcements on like a newscaster thing, like that. That'd be like the AV club. That'd be something you should probably get into. But you'd have fun with that.
I like the announcements because I don't know if being told you guys, but we have a so last year and part of this year we had carpooling with Mr. Smith.
Okay.
And it only comes out on Fridays.
Okay.
And so they would like put the title, right?
Yeah.
It would be like 2 minutes, and so he would be like, "Okay, this is carpooling with Mr. Smith," and he had like a fake car and stuff.
Was it like carpool karaoke?
Yeah, but
Sorta.
only for 2 minutes, and then he would like just put one of the teachers in his fake car.
Oh.
And then he would be like, "Oh, how's your day?" And then he or she would be like, "Oh yeah, good," and then he'd be like, "Oh, well, mine's good too." And then whoever was sitting in the passenger seat would be like, "Can we listen to some music?" And then he'd turn it on, and then be like a random song. Like,
that's funny.
Some of the songs I knew, some of them I didn't.
Yeah.
And it was funny too because sometimes like our crazy teachers, they would just jump out of the car.
Nice.
Like when they got to the school. It was funny.
That's funny.
But now we don't have that. Now we have the masked dancer.
Okay.
Which I think next week, starting an advisory, we're gonna do. We're gonna go on this website that he sent.
Okay. Yeah.
A link to all the teachers.
Yeah.
And we get to guess which teacher is like the Raven or the.
Oh, that's cool.
What's it called? The Falcon.
That's cool.
Like
that's awesome.
Like that. I can't ever guess.
That'd be super.
One of them I know is Mr. Olgame.
Okay.
It said favorite movie is Iron Man. I'm like, yep, Mr. Olgame.
Oh, sweet. Well, so yeah, so that's like audio visual class. Like they do that probably stuff like for them. Like it's just like kind of like what we're doing now, except for. And I was never in it. I wish I would have been. I thought I would. It probably would have been real cool.
I did it in elementary school. I got to do the announcement.
Well, yeah, that's the announcements. But I mean, like, where like they actually put it on they present it like a TV show and stuff. Yeah. So that would be cool. So you should look into that, see if that's a thing. That's your school. I bet you it is. I bet you it's a club you can get into. Yeah. So, well, that's our podcast for today. It's a snow day. we rocked Bring Your Daughter to Work Day. You were a great host. I had fun answering questions, and that's the episode 21.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I'm going to start doing a thing where I talk about my favorite player that wore number 21 or like whatever podcast we're on. So my favorite player to ever wear number 21 that I can think of is Deion Sanders, because Deion Sanders was awesome. So.
Wait, is it okay if I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Just real quick?
Yeah.
Because I don't know if other people are wondering this too, but so why did you name this podcast Swiss Army Man Podcast?
Well, clearly you don't listen to my podcast because I explained it in the first episode.
Yeah, I don't listen to your podcast. You're right.
So I'll explain it to you. So quick recap, and this will be great for, actually, it's a great question because we're on 21 episodes now. So it's been 20 episodes since the first one, and it's been a while. So the reason why this is named Swiss Army Man Podcast is in everything I've ever done in life, I've always joked around that I was good at everything, not great at anything. Right? You've heard me say that. So the Swiss Army knife. Do you know what a Swiss Army knife is? So a Swiss Army knife is it's this knife that basically has like scissors, a knife. It has like 7,000 things in it. Like you can flip out. There's so many. I'll show you a picture of it afterward. And so it has all these things. But those tools are never the best of it. Like they're not the best pair of scissors. They're not the best knife. They're not the best corkscrew. They're not the best, flosser or whatever it is. I don't know what's all in there. Like, so not the best magnifying glass, all these stuff. But when you put them all together in this knife, that knife, the Swiss Army knife, is known as like the best knife like that. So all these things that are like good instruments, but not great instruments, come together and form a great tool. So like, that's kind of like my life. So I've been great. I've been good at a lot of things, but just not great at anything. So like all of those things are who I am as a person. So like, think of all the things that you're really good at. You're like everyone's a Swiss Army knife, essentially, right? Okay. Like that's kind of the metaphor. Everyone's a Swiss Army knife. You have all these tools and you may be okay or good at this, or even like really, really good at this. Or some people are really great at one thing, but they're also good at a bunch of other things. And so now they are this like thing that when it comes together is the greatest version of who they can be. So that's the point of the podcast name. Yeah. So make a little more sense. Yeah. So, and it's not just for men, because you're obviously a woman, but like, and I'm hoping to have some women guests on there. I want to get some WNBA players. I want to hopefully get some. There's actually someone I really, really would like to get on. I saw it. She's a college basketball player. Her name's Hannah Hall, and she had this thing where she like went through some like mental health stuff, and like had like developed an eating disorder, and was like pushing herself super hard, and like she's come back from it and played really well, and just learned a lot about herself and like stuff like that. So I'd love to have her on the podcast because I think she'd be a really good interview, and like the things that she puts out there via social media and stuff like that would be really awesome to get to dive into a little bit. So I think so I might reach out to her. She doesn't have a ability to DM. So today I might tweet at her and say, hey, I was talking about having you on my podcast with my daughter, and maybe we can make that happen. That's the cool thing about podcasts is I can reach out on Twitter or whatever, and people can say yes or no, right? Mm-hmm. I can ask anybody. I can ask Joe Rogan to be on my podcast. Probably isn't going to respond because he's huge. I could ask Pat McAfee to be on my podcast. Probably won't respond because he's huge. I could ask Barack Obama to be on my podcast. Probably won't respond because, you know what I mean? You could ask anybody to be on my podcast. They could say no. They probably will say no. But guess what? Every now and then you'll get the one that says yes. And that's the way of life. I talk about it in the Brant Tobler podcast that I did on here, where sometimes it's just taking the initiative, shooting your shot, right? Like, what's the worst thing that happens? Someone can tell you no.
I think it'd be cool to do it with like some type of actor or something.
Actor?
Or like a singer, someone like that.
Well, I still got to get Carter on. I'm trying to get Carter on. So there's a number of people, but that's just what we do. We have these conversations and it's fun. So, but that's what a podcast is. Appreciate you doing mine for the second time. All right, we're gonna sign out. We're gonna have lunch. Peace. See you guys next time on the Swiss Army Man podcast.